Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's morning briefing. Israeli security forces have finally ended a month-long manhunt for the suspected killer of Rabbi Raziel Shevach. Palestinian terrorists killed the rabbi last month in a bloody drive-by shooting. Police have just announced that the suspected killer has been shot and killed by Israeli troops. Shin Bet and IDF forces were working together in a long and deeply coordinated effort to track the suspect, 22-year-old Ahmad Nasser Jarrar, to the Palestinian village of Yamun in the West Bank. When security teams surrounded his building to arrest him, Jarrar allegedly exited the building with an M16 rifle and a bag of explosives, prompting troops to open fire. The murder of Rabbi Raziel Shevach, a father of 6, also prompted cabinet leaders to legalize the formerly illegal Havat Gilad outpost in the West Bank earlier this week. Prime Minister Netanyahu has hailed the army's successful operation to track down this terrorist. But the rabbi's widow, however, has shared a somewhat different view. After learning that her husband's killer had been killed, she told Army Radio that, quote, "I understand the desire for account settling, but when it comes with another killing, we haven't solved the problem," end quote. Meanwhile, Israeli security forces are conducting a full-scale manhunt for the suspect in yesterday's terror attack outside the Ariel settlement in the West Bank. Police have named 19-year-old Abed al-Hakim Asi, an Israeli Arab who spent time living in Yafo, as the prime suspect in the murder of Rabbi Itamar Ben Gal. The rabbi was stabbed in the chest yesterday and succumbed to his wounds. Graphic video footage captured the suspect getting out of a taxi van, crossing the street, and then stabbing the unsuspecting rabbi as he was waiting for a bus. Unfortunately, this is in line with many such terror attacks in the West Bank, but for the suspect to have Israeli citizenship certainly changes the profile. Israeli troops have conducted raids throughout villages surrounding the Jewish Ariel settlement, and Prime Minister Netanyahu has vowed the suspect's swift capture, just like last evening's neutralization of the murderer of Rabbi Raziel Shevach. Hamas has hailed this attack as evidence of the ongoing intifada of resistance against Trump's controversial Jerusalem decision. Police have not yet released much info about the suspect other than that his mother lived in Haifa until recently, and that his father is a Palestinian man from Nablus in the West Bank. The controversy over Poland's recently passed Holocaust bill continues, as following remarks by Education Minister NAFTALI Bennett, the country canceled his planned visit. Bennett was scheduled to visit Poland next week to meet with students as well as high-ranking politicians and diplomats. But in speaking of the upcoming trip, Bennett said he was, quote, "going to speak truth where the truth took place," end quote. The new Polish law penalizes the blaming of Poland for actions taken during the Holocaust under Nazi occupation. And while Bennett acknowledged that it's true the Germans built and operated the death camps in Poland, he said, quote, "Many Polish people all over the country chased, informed, or actively took part in the murder of over 200,000 Jews during and after the Holocaust," end quote. Quote, "Only a few thousand people, righteous among the nations, risked themselves to save Jews. That is the truth. I agreed to a dialogue based on truth. The Polish government chose to evade this truth. No legislation will change the past," he continued. Well, following his vow, Polish government spokeswoman Joanna Kopczynska rescinded his invitation, saying, quote, "There will be no such visit in Poland," end quote. Bennett, in response, said he was honored by the cancellation and that the, quote, "blood of Polish Jews cries from the ground, and no law will silence it." In a phone conversation with British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas has today allegedly reaffirmed his commitment to a two-state solution with Israel, but on terms that are again not likely to be met. Seemingly in line with his previous attempts to cut the United States out of the negotiations, Abbas clarified that he would be willing to talk peace, but only through an international and multilateral mechanism, and based on the Arab Peace Initiative of 2002. According to demands in the Arab Peace Plan, in return for peace and normalized ties between the Arab world and Israel, Israel would need to fully withdraw from the West Bank, Gaza, and the Golan Heights, going back to the June 1967 borders. Further, the Palestinians would be given an independent and sovereign state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Abbas declared that he doesn't see the United States playing a role in the peace process ever since President Trump made his December 6th announcement to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and to move the U.S. Embassy in kind. Trump's comments did not, however, exclude the possibility of sharing Jerusalem by the end of future peace negotiations. Abbas is expected to take this offer again to the United Nations Security Council later this month. Curiously, though, some members of the Arab League aren't strictly sticking to these demands anymore, with Jordan calling for Abbas to get over his issues with Trump, and Saudi Arabia allegedly pressuring for the same. An explosive device has been discovered this morning attached to the door of a residential apartment in Gedolei Israel Street in Rishon LeZion. Neighbors on the 11th floor of the building were the first to notify police after discovering a cell phone connected to a charger and wires attached to the door. Residents on the floor have since been evacuated, and police sappers have been working on disarming the device. A full investigation into the incident has also been launched, but so far, no motive or suspect has been made public. The resident of the apartment, a local business owner, has also since been taken in to offer testimony. That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.